Welcome back, my friends. I've got something a little bit different to show you today. As you can see here, I have a vintage, what appears to be a toolbox. It is a toolbox. This was my dad's old toolbox. It was given to me after he died by I think one of my uncles. But yeah, this was Dad's toolbox back in his model airplane flying days. Back before I was born, I think the 70s and 80s, Dad flew model airplanes. Not little ones, big model airplanes, one that you'd need a couple of people to move around. I saw the planes themselves, of course, after I was born, and they were all put away up in storage, and I did see them in storage. And the planes themselves were actually offered to me after he died, and I said no, just because I knew I was never going to touch them. But I was given this toolbox, and when it was given to me, I just put it down Mom's basement. Didn't, obviously did not want to go through it and put myself through that at that time. But 9 years later, I've decided that I wanted to take a look at it. At the very least, see what kind of toolbox this was, if it was anything identifiable, because I had no clue. And also sort of go through what was inside it, although I knew it was nothing that I would personally find interesting. But what I discovered is that this toolbox is actually kind of special. It was built by a company called Beach Industries. And there's their logo right there. Beach Industries, Canadian company. And as for when this was made, I have no clue. However, this very toolbox shows up in their 1971 catalog, and which you can find online. Sadly, there are no catalogs from other years online. There used to be, but there aren't anymore, apparently. Beach Industries was formed in the 1940s, right after World War II. I believe it was right after. And they were really prosperous up until the 1980s, when the rising price of steel and cheaper foreign-made toolboxes drove them out of business. And in the 1980s, they were acquired by Stanley Tool, the company that makes the Stanley brand of tools you often see in stores today. And now they own dozens of other brands, including Black & Decker, Porter Cable, Irwin Tool. But yeah, Stanley acquired Beach Industries in the 1980s, and after that they wasted no time in stopping the manufacture of almost all of Beach Industries products. So sort of the end of an era. And now today, as I found out researching online, these Beach Industries toolboxes are very renowned by garage enthusiasts, I guess you'd call them, people into good quality and vintage tools and equipment and stuff like that. These are very renowned for being very high quality. They were built of very thick steel. This is made of steel, very thick steel, and just being very high quality, extremely durable. And also, toolboxes of this particular style, which I'm going to show you today, apparently you can't really buy these anymore. They are a dying breed of toolboxes of this style. So I'm pretty lucky to have one of these. I'm glad that I finally took the time to sort of examine this in detail and see what I had, because I really never knew what I had, and now I'm really glad that I have it. I did some looking online, and on places like Kijiji you can find lots of Beach Industries toolboxes. They were very popular. There's lots of units sold, and of course, because of how durable they are, lots of them still exist today. And lots of them have been handed down from generation to generation. But something fascinating, and something that makes me feel kind of thankful that I've noticed, is that most of the Beach Industries toolboxes you find for sale online are just totally beaten the heck up, especially the portable ones like this. Super rusted, all dented up, whereas this thing, it's almost mint. It's got no dents in it, a few minor scratches, and no major rust. The only rust anywhere is on the bottom. And yeah, take a look at this. The blue hammered paint finish is just beautiful. Really, really nice looking. It really is a beautiful looking vintage toolbox. The handles here only have minor surface rust on them, and the clasps as well. Yeah, this is the best condition one that I've seen so far, and I own it, so I'm really happy for that. And there you can see the other side. Really, really beautiful shape. I haven't seen one, I don't think, in this good a shape for sale online. So I've come to really appreciate how sort of special this is for what it is, just a toolbox. I mean, most people wouldn't care, but people like you and me, you know, we can understand why something like this may be coveted by some people. So I'm really glad I have this, and what I've decided to do is, and we're going to do this in this video, I will open this up, of course, and show you what's inside, show what my dad left in it. But I'm going to clean it out, I'm going to clean it up, and do some cleaning on it and get it looking a bit better than it is right now. I've done a general wipe down of it, but it could use a little more cleaning. And then I'm going to refill it with my stuff, my tools, because what I have currently is this stupid little thing. This has been, well, my first and only toolbox. I got this when I was I think a preteen. I got it at the dollar store. I think it was a gift given to me, but you could buy these at the dollar store for like $3. And it's very tiny, obviously, and it is stuffed right full. And things like, I have other screwdrivers and other stuff that just don't fit in this anymore. So I'm gonna move my tools into this toolbox, and I think that'll be pretty cool. And as for the stuff that's in it, like I said, there's very few things interesting to me in it. Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody sees anything interesting currently in this toolbox that they want, message me, you can have it for the cost of shipping. Otherwise, I'll probably see what I can do about giving away or selling the stuff inside here, because it's not stuff that I'm ever going to use. Most of it is stuff that I have no idea what it is. So, let's, well, looking in detail here, of course, I think I already showed the logo here, the badge. This is a metal badge, and Smiths Falls, Ontario is where this was built. And you got a place here to put a lock. These were bent opposite of what they were supposed to be for some reason. I think it's something my dad did for whatever reason. This part was bent that way, and this part was bent that way, and so I had to bend them back. So they're a little bit bent now, but better than it was. And then you've got these big, thick steel clasps, and these plus the handle, as I said, they've got a little bit of pitting on them, a little bit of surface rust. And so what I'll do later in this video is I have something that should be able to help that. I have a bottle of Brasso here. This is metal polish, and so I will use this and wipe these down with some Brasso and see if we can make them look a little bit better. So let's open it up. Now, of course, the special thing about this and how it works is it's got shelves on it that are cantilevered. This is what they call a cantilever toolbox, and apparently you cannot find them very easily anymore. But there you can see when I open that end up, you have these two shelves, do the same on the other end, and they're on cantilevers like that. Very, very cool. And the top boxes here have a little lid on them that you can open up. And there's one big tray there, and the lower trays are sectioned off, as you can see. Open that up, and yes, very, very roomy toolbox. It really is quite large. And something else kind of impressive is, you know, there's not a lot of stuff in here, and nothing that's in here is heavy. The toolbox itself weighs a ton. It weighs 25-30 pounds. It really is very heavy. That very heavy gauge steel is just really excellent. And there you can get a sense for how how well built this thing is. All metal. Very, very cool. Now here's something strange. Get a load of this. I'm at the bottom of the box, and right here against the side there's a big puddle, I guess you'd call it, of what feels like some sort of epoxy. And it's got a wooden popsicle stick in it, and that's just stuck right to it, and there's other stuff that's just stuck right to it. What the heck is that doing there? And I wonder if I can get it out. I'll grab my pocket knife and see if I can like cut it out or something. It's stuck really good. Wow, look at this. So I got a chunk of the epoxy out. It's just rock hard. And when it came out, it took the paint right with it. So there's bare metal where it used to be now. I have no idea where the heck this could have come from. What the heck Dad could have done to do this, but I guess I'll see if I can cut the rest of it out. It's just a shame that it looks like it's gonna take the paint with it. Aha, look at that. I got the whole chunk out, and it took a little bit of the paint with it. Man, that's weird. Alright, so we got the box all cleaned out. As you can see, it's very, very filthy. So what I'm gonna do next is grab the shop vac and give it a good vacuuming. I vacuumed out the whole thing, and you can see, looking a lot better now. Still on the dirty side though. And I'm kind of wondering if I should just throw this thing in the bathtub and just soak it and give it a real clean, because as you can see, lots of dirt still hanging around here. And yeah, I'm just wondering if I should wipe it down or just throw it in the bathtub. I don't want to rust it any more than it already is, just because it's so pristine. So I don't know if I'll be accelerating any rust, you know, if it'll rust super fast if I throw it in the bathtub and get it wet. So I'll have to think about that, but I definitely want to do a more thorough cleaning of this because it's still covered in fine dust and stuff like that. And there's a little bit of epoxy down there still, so I've got to try and clean that up too. Bath time. Okay, so the next day I gave this thing a quick 15-minute bath last night. Got a lot of the dirt off it. The water was a bit brown when I was done. And doesn't seem to be any rust where there wasn't rust already, so that's good. I tried to make it as quick as possible, but looking a lot better now, especially if you look at these red parts. You can see the light reflecting off them. They're still shiny, really good paint on these trays. And same for the rest of it as well. Bit dirty down there where I couldn't reach, but no problem. Cantilevers have a bit of shine to them, which is nice to see. And actually, I'll probably try some Brasso on these cantilevers as well, see if I can clean them up a bit. As for the main compartment in here, yeah, some specks of surface rust starting, and that really weird corrosion where that epoxy stuff was. Quite strange. But yeah, all in all, looking very good. So we'll close her up here and do the bigger part first. Nope, do the smaller part first. You gotta do it in a certain order so it closes up. And yeah, there's what it looks like. Very, very nice. Now I don't know if I showed this yet, but the bulk of the rust is on the bottom. So if we look at the bottom, there's the bottom and there's where the bulk of the rust is. You can see, especially this corner here, rusted up quite a bit. All 4 feet have had the paint worn off them. They've rusted up. So what I've done is I've ordered some sanding blocks, so they're on the way here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand probably a lot of this. I want to sand it, try to get all the rust off it, and then repaint it with something just to protect the metal from rusting again. And I have a can of spray paint. It's gray in color. It's actually the same paint used to paint this table. I might see if I can get something a bit closer. I looked on Rust-Oleum's website. They have an enamel paint that seems to be in a color sort of similar to this. I'm not so pedantic that I'm going to care it's the exact same color. My primary concern is just protecting the paint from any, or protecting the metal rather, from any further rusting. Yeah, it's mostly just on the bottom, so that's good at least, and the rest of it, as you know, is very good. So, what I want to do next is see if I can shine up these clasps and the handle, and I'll try with the cantilevers too. So, this Brasso stuff, you use it with a lint-free cloth, like a microfiber cloth, which is what I'm going to use, and you squirt a bit on it, and you sort of just rub, and it takes a ton of rubbing. Rub, just keep rubbing it. You usually have to repeatedly add this stuff, and tons of rubbing, several minutes if not longer. And yeah, I will try that and see how well it cleans it up. So I'll start with the handle first. So turn my light off here, see if you get a better look at the handle. So that's what the handle looks like currently. And small amount of surface rust on it, quite a bit of pitting. So I'll take the Brasso to that first and see if we can get it looking better. So I've done the handle, and as I started doing it I figured that with the rust on it that maybe I should have taken some high grit sandpaper to it before I actually used the Brasso, but unfortunately I left my sandpaper at Mom's house. But the other problem is this handle has a textured finish on it, and so if I took sandpaper to it I would ruin that. So I decided just to see what the Brasso alone would do, and it actually ended up working very well. You can see a lot of the rust and pitting is gone thanks to the Brasso. There you can see it preserved the texture, but most of the rust that was on it is all gone. That is really, really impressive. And I did these parts too. These parts were pretty clean, but you shined them up a little bit. And yeah, that's working. That worked really well, better than I thought it would. So next I'll do the clasps, and those should be a bit better because they're not textured, they're just smooth metal. And they're not as bad as the handles, so just some tarnishing, no actual rust on them. But at the same time, they might be a bit more difficult to actually work with because they're a lot more complex of a shape than the handle is, so it might be hard to get Brasso everywhere. I see a little bit of rust inside there, but yes, and quite a bit of rust there. But I'll see what I can do about these clasps, and then we'll come back. So I've done one clasp so far. Here's the one I haven't done. Now take a look at the one I have done. Very nice. Nice and shiny, smooth. Very, very nice. Back to the one I haven't done yet. Here's the one I have done. Sweet. So now I'll finish up with this one. Well, there's both of the clasps done, and yeah, that looks really, really nice. Very impressed with how the Brasso worked on that. Just for the fun of it, I did sort of a test and took Brasso to one of the very rusty feet on the bottom just to see how well it got rid of the rust. I didn't expect it to do anything, but to my great surprise, turn my light on here, it actually took the rust right off, almost. You're left with bare metal with quite a bit of pitting. So there's one of the other feet for comparison. And there's the foot that I worked at with the brasso. So that was quite surprising. However, took a long time to do, and as you can see, still a lot of pitting on it and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is wait for the sanding blocks to come, and once the sanding blocks come, I think I'm going to go right to town on these feet and this whole area of the bottom, get it all sanded down, and then repaint it with something. I think I may buy some of that Rust-Oleum stuff. Rust-Oleum makes a ton of different kinds of paint, spray and otherwise, and I don't know what I should get. I think probably the best thing to get would be, they make a enamel paint that's sort of meant for touch-ups, and I think maybe that would be suitable for this. Some of that and a suitable brush, and just brush that on. But I really have no clue. I've never done anything like this, so if anybody certainly who has more experience than I do want to give me some tips on how exactly I should go about painting this. Again, not concerned with it looking original, just to protect the metal from any further rust. Any advice would be appreciated there. But yeah, that's looking great, the parts that I've done so far. And just for fun, I gotta find it. I also did one of the rivets on the side. So there's a rivet that I haven't done, and there's the rivet that I did. As you can see, very shiny. It's very nice. So I may actually take the time just to clean up the rivets and make those look a bit nicer. And I think I am going to do the cantilevers. Some people may think that's just a waste of time, sort of being pedantic and doing the cantilevers, but to me it's just sort of why not, you know? You have to look at them when the thing's open, so why not put a little effort to make them look a bit nicer. So I'll take a stab at these and we'll see how they look. There's the cantilevers that I just did versus ones I haven't done yet. Very nice, nice and shiny. You see a bit of wearing in the direction that I've been rubbing, but I'm not too concerned about that. I almost decided not to do it because I wasn't very careful at first, and if you look at my cloth, I actually took some of the red paint off the trays with the brasso. So I was very careful after that. I just took one finger and used one finger to rub up and down like that. And that's why they have those directional wear marks, but that's the safest way to do it if I want to shine these up. So I'll go ahead and do the rest. Well, there's the cantilevers all shined up, at least best I can do without risking taking some of the red paint off. And yeah, it's looking pretty nice now. I even did those metal parts, like this one right here, just to make it at least feel a bit better, less rough. But yeah, there you go. That's probably all the work I'm going to do on this for now. There's definitely more to do that I want to do, but probably best left for another time. I think definitely what I want to do is shine up the rest of these rivets. 5 on each side, and I guess that's it, just 5 on each side, so I could probably go ahead and do that today. And but yeah, this thing is looking so much better now, especially with these clasps and the handle looking really nice, and got all the decades of dirt off it. So yeah, I think for now that's pretty much all there is to show of this thing. I'm really happy to have this. I'm glad I finally took the time to check it out and realize what I really had, which was very much a gem. It seems a lot of people lament now the days where you could buy a sturdy, high-quality, Canadian-built toolbox, and those days are just over now. Something kind of cool I did learn recently, I don't think I've talked about this yet, is that while Stanley discontinued almost all of Beach Industries products after they acquired Beach Industries. They still make this box. Stanley Tool actually makes this very toolbox today. It's called the J9951, and according to, if you look at reviews for that box, people complain that it's quite flimsy, so evidently they've thinned out the steel on it compared to this unit, but it looks exactly the same pretty much, which I think is kind of funny. So yeah, if you Google Stanley J9951, you can buy a box that at least looks just like this one. It's about $100 or $150 depending on where you look, but I'm sure it doesn't hold a candle to the original thing, but I think it's pretty cool nonetheless. Yeah, I'm just really happy to have this, and happy to have the opportunity to sort of shine it up, help it look a bit better, and ultimately use it. I'm gonna start using this. I'm gonna move my soldering stuff and everything else into this thing. Certainly an upgrade from my from that thing right there. But yeah, pretty happy about this, and I think if they have YouTube in heaven, I think Dad would give this video a like for sure. So yeah, there you go, and I'll probably make another video when I get ready to sort of sand the bottom and repaint it and stuff like that. And once again, if you have any tips you want to offer me for that, since I've never really done that before, let me know for sure. But there you go, that's pretty much all there is for this thing. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it, and I'll see you later. Excellent. Really like that a lot.